Another week of Grand Slam Sports. I'm Jay Saj.
I'm Charles Foster.
And I'm Samuel Gailey.
Going right into Monday Night Football. Charles, your Jets, they fall 23-20 at the hand of the Buffalo Bills. A wild and windy Monday night game in MetLife Stadium. Guys, what do you think about that one?
Wendy is right. Definitely a rough day if you're a kicker. That game hurt. I was watching it with my family, and that one, it was definitely, the Jets showed a lot of promise offensively. It was one of the best games Rodgers has played in the green and white. However, they just couldn't finish the drives. That's what I really saw with the Jets.
I think Breece Hall looked good. I think it really opened up the passing game. I think if you get Breece Hall going early, get those legs turning, I think it really opened up a lot of what the Jets can do offensively. But I want to talk about Josh Allen and the use of his legs and the ability to extend plays. He's not a Pat Mahomes, he's not a Lamar Jackson, but he's sort of similar capabilities to both, as well as a big arm. I think Josh sort of picked apart their defense at times, but like you said, really windy day, very difficult to keep that ball in the air. Nonetheless, through the uprights.
Yeah, but I think that Rodgers had his best day as a Jet so far in the passing game.
Okay.
Both Lazard and Garrett Wilson saw 100-plus receiving yards in this ball game, and Rodgers almost hit the 300-yard mark for the first time in a while. And now they add a third, Devontae Adams, which we'll get into that. But the passing game looks better than ever in New York right now.
I mean, yeah, I definitely think there was a lot to take away. I mean, obviously, as a Jets fan, you look at that 2-4 and you just want to sink to your knees. But at the same time, there is a lot good to take away. Breece Hall finally looked like himself. He had more yards in one of his rushes than he had the entire past 2 weeks. Breece Hall had not looked like himself. So to see him kind of looking like that elite running back that we believe that he is, it was a breath of fresh air.
And then for the Bills, they had Ray Davis go for 97 yards and 20 carries in this ball game, which then opened up their passing game for Josh Allen. And Allen, using his legs as good as he is, improvising, the Bills just look like a real contender in the AFC.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, my gosh, that running back, I didn't even know who he was. And I carried the ball like he was another James Cook. I think there's a lot of these offenses nowadays where that running back is interchangeable. You see it in San Francisco with Jordan Mason. We're like, how does he going to compare to without Christian McCaffrey? He's looking like CMC when he carries the ball. Kareem Hunt filling in for Pacheco for another example. And he's doing it here. And I love the versatility of these running backs.
Agreed.
Now looking into last night's game, Thursday Night Football, a blowout victory for the Broncos. The Saints have now lost 5 in a row as they get blown out at home by Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos. Guys, wow.
Well, that's one of those games that if you took the under, you won some money because everything except for pretty much Javonte Williams and the Broncos offense was pretty much under. I mean, Rattler is not looking too hot here in New Orleans. Their receiving core is not looking hot without Shaheed. I mean, this is just it's a dumpster fire in New Orleans right now.
You can talk about how Spencer Rattler didn't do anything, but who does he passing the ball to? I mean, it's like throwing Mac Jones last year with no receivers. Same thing here. I mean, what was he supposed to do with the ball? And I think partially New Orleans struggles because they could not get Kamara going. For the love of God, they could not have him pick up yards. And I mean, he was one of the top receivers. He caught 6-7 balls, just like he did last week. And he was one of the top receivers. And I mean, if your running back is one of your top receivers, I think that's a big, big problem, and they need Olave and Shaheed back.
And honestly, Bo Nix looked decent. He threw for 167 yards. He was on the ground for 75 yards. Bo Nix is now kind of a dual-threat quarterback that's a threat on the ground. And the Broncos, don't look now, but they're 4-3 guys. Yeah. And they're right in the mix of the playoff race in the AFC, which honestly, who would have guessed that? It's their defense that's really taking this team to the next level right now, guys.
Without Surtain last night, I have to put out with Surtain. But, I mean, given they don't have a really wide receiver one on New Orleans, but if the defense looks that good without Surtain, and they honestly should have intercepted a couple passes too, I think the Broncos should be up there.
I think the Broncos, they look really good, like you said, defensively. I mean, this is a D-line that's been really good, especially Zach Allen. I want to, highlight him. He has been fantastic on that Broncos D-line. I mean, this is a Broncos team, to me, that has looked reinvented. And I think with Bo Nix as well playing pretty solid, I like to see what they're doing.
Yeah, and then for the Broncos defense, Barton, he had 2 scoop and scores last night, 2 touchdowns defensively off 2 fumbles by Spencer Rattler. So the Broncos, 4-3, and are they a playoff contender, guys?
I don't think they're going to do too well long term. I think that they're just the product of a pretty favorable schedule right now against some pretty weak offenses.
You agree?
I agree for that most part. I think if you get Javonte, I think McLaughlin looked really good last night. Even the rookie Estime as well, he looked really good. If they get that run game going, I think Denver has a chance to win football games.
And then looking now into the AFC East, wide receiver moves. 2 moves in the same day as Davante Adams will be going to the Jets, and Amari Cooper will be going to the Bills. Ooh. So the 2 teams playing on Monday Night Football both get themselves a receiver 1.
Man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty excited as a Jets fan. I think that Davante Adams has that chemistry. I mean, we've even seen it with Lazard. Lazard last year was not good. I mean, that's just a nice way to put it. He was not good. But with Lazard, with Rodgers, is a whole nother person. I mean, we saw the Hail Mary. We see these passes where he literally throws it under the defender's arm. I mean, Lazard and Rodgers have that connection from playing in Green Bay. Just imagine how this Adams and Rodgers connection is going to do here in New York. I'm excited.
It's going to be interesting for me to watch the Jets play now that they have Davante Adams because one of these receivers is not going to be able to eat. And it's really unfortunate because if Davante comes over and takes over the one wide receiver 1 role from Garrett Wilson's productivity is going to drop. And he's going to go from having 5-6 targets a game to 3 or 4. Maybe 2 catches out of the 3 or 4 targets. And I really think it's going to hinder his growth as a wide receiver. But I want to move over to the Bills because Amari Cooper's huge for them.
Yeah.
Keon Coleman not doing as much as he can, bringing in Amari Cooper for a bag of chips and a sandwich that you can buy at a local gas station, I think is a steal for them.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, Amari Cooper obviously hasn't looked too good this year. I think it's been more of him not wanting to be in Cleveland with Deshaun Watson because the Browns, they just don't look good, to be honest. And Cooper was the one receiver they really had that could do something in the passing game. But now the Bills, you know, they lost Stephon Diggs in the offseason, obviously. They pick up Keon Coleman. But now they add what can be a receiver 1 for Josh Allen, and this makes them a real contender.
It is a wide receiver.
And something I do want to say, and kind of going back onto what you said with the Jets, I actually would beg to differ on Garrett Wilson's productivity. I mean, he was getting close to 10 to 14 targets a game as the receiver 1, which just made it to where he was getting double teamed. I think with another actual viable threat, I think his productivity will be a little bit better because he no longer has the best cornerback on him.
Yep.
That's what I think personally.
Looking into the next Jets opponent, the Pittsburgh Steelers, they made a change in the quarterback position. And it will, I'll get back to that in a second. Let's skip ahead. What moves, so obviously we have the deadline soon. What moves do you guys want to see at the trade deadline?
Patriots, bring in wide receiver.
Anything.
Patriots, bring in wide receiver, please. Thank you. That's me.
I actually have a list of some players that I'll go over. I spent a lot of time on this. I love the trade deadline. Looking at some of them, first one that I kind of really like, it's a quiet move, but D-Hop, get him out, please. Mm-hmm. Get him to an actual contender, and I think the perfect team for him is an injured Chiefs receiver core. I think D-Hop would be a pretty solid fit in Kansas City. So me personally, that was one of my highest marks, is I really want to see D-Hop in that red and white.
I like that Chiefs call because the Chiefs, they always need a receiver. Mm-hmm. So I feel like any kind of veteran, good receiver could be a Chief by the end of the deadline. But one move I want to see specifically is the Lions make a move for a defensive end. Mm-hmm. Obviously, they lost Aiden Hutchinson to that horrible, horrible injury in their win over the Cowboys. So I want to see them go after someone like Hassan Reddick.
That's who I had as well on my list. I think that'd be a perfect move.
I think Max Crosby from the Raiders.
I thought so too, but I think he wants to be a Raider for life.
Oh, obviously. But I'm just saying, I would love to see that move. I think having Mad Max on one side and Aiden Hutchinson when he's on the other, that's crazy. That's criminal. Max
has said if he was to ever go to any other team, it would be Detroit.
Yeah.
So it makes sense, but I think in terms of what's more likely is going to be Hassan Reddick to Detroit.
Agreed. Reddick, in my opinion, is either gone or signing a deal very soon. We know that he did fire his agency, so now he's kind of looking, or his agency, one of the two happened. So now his agency is actually looking to get a deal done or looking to get a trade done. So I think one of these moves will happen. Someone else that I had that's kind of a little bit, Joseph Noteboom from the Rams. I think that he needs to go to a team that needs that edge protections. Maybe like a team I was looking at the Giants at first because they had lost Andrew Thomas, but also had someone like the Bills who have been kind of struggling off the edge with how much Josh Allen has to move. Having Noteboom on that edge, to me, would be a pretty good move.
There's one more that I had, and the Texans need some safety help. They've kind of been injury real back there. They can always use some safety help. Buda Baker from the Cardinals.
I love
because the Cardinals, they're 2-4 now. They might be blowing it up here soon. And Buda Baker would be a piece they would look to move to get some capital back.
And kind of raising the question, looking at what Sam's been pretty happy on, What is a move that you want your team to make from the Patriots? What do you think they need to add?
Edge protection, man. We're moving Owinu from right guard to right tackle to left guard, back to right tackle. We need some consistency. I mean, for me personally, as a Patriots fan, I love what Drake May did last week, and I can't wait to watch what he does against the Jags. He needs some protection, man. We can't let our first-round draft pick get hit like that as much.
Jace, Colts, what are you thinking?
Defense. The corners, honestly, hadn't looked too bad. Womack's been pretty good in the corners. Maybe a D lineman because we've had a lot of injuries back there with Buckner still on IR right now. We could really use a D lineman. Either a D tackle or a corner would be the biggest need right now.
For me with the Jets, I think I kind of want to fill up some holes on defense. I think specifically with the D-line, Javon Kinlaw has just been a problem, way too many penalties. I'm looking at the Jags here who are looking like they might have to blow it up. Eric Armstead, a little veteran. I think that he would be a perfect run stopping, kind of be able to get to the quarterback. I think that would be the move that I personally want to see the Jets make.
Now we'll go into the Steelers as they have made the move to start Russell Wilson over Justin Fields, who led them to a 4-2 start. Guys, I don't know how I feel about this one, but let's get your take on it.
I pump my fist not because I'm happy about the move as a fan of the game, because the Jets play them next week. I love going against Russell Wilson over Justin Fields. Justin Fields is, in my opinion, just a better option. I think that he has been mature on this team. I think that he has done great. I've always been a Justin Fields believer. I do not understand why you take a 4-2 team and change your quarterback. To me, it doesn't make much sense, especially with the past few seasons with Russell Wilson.
Dude, I'm smiling and I'm laughing over here because I agree with Charles 100%. It's like taking a working wheel and reshaping the wheel so it doesn't work anymore. I think Justin Fields really has that run threat. I think he does. I think he can get outside and scramble. Russell Wilson in the past with the Seahawks has done that, right? But let's face it, he's older now. He's more of a pocket quarterback. And you're eliminating basically that run threat completely from your offense.
I completely agree with both of you. I mean, Fields has looked honestly decent compared to his Bears career. Obviously, he's looked pretty good in Pittsburgh. He looked like he belongs there. So to bench them when you're 4-2, you have a winning record, you're in the playoff race for a veteran quarterback who looked horrible in Denver. I don't understand this move.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a case of overthinking it. I think that they believe that they're going a little bit too. Things are too good. Let's go with the veteran. It doesn't make any sense to me.
I honestly think you go with the hot hand here. Justin Fields has been hot. Russell Wilson has to realize that maybe he's on a decline and maybe he needs to fill in as that role of that veteran back.
But if they want to play him against the Jets this weekend, I'm here for it.
I'm telling you guys, if Russell Wilson shows out this weekend, Steelers lose, Russell Wilson looks like meh. I think that's going to reignite those conversations.
Agreed.
Into the pick six. We'll begin in London with Samuel's Patriots as they take on the Jacksonville Jaguars, 1-5 versus 1-5.
Yes,
Guys,
sir.
who do you got?
I'm definitely going to look at the Jags here, the London Jaguars. I know I said them for the Bears. They got smacked, but the Patriots are not the Bears. So give me the Jags.
I will be taking the Patriots here. I went the Jags last week. Never again. Give me the Patriots to beat the Jaguars in London.
Patriots in this one, and it's not because of anything other than Drake May. He looked great last weekend, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and 246 yards. He's going to have another great showing.
Texans and Packers, a really good one here, guys. Sam, we will begin with you this time.
Oh, man, this is so hard because Jordan Love has been playing lights out at the beginning games until he got injured and stuff like that. I have the Texans here. I really do. I think C.J. Stroud has really found his rhythm in that passing offense, and Mixon looks good.
I agree. I'll go Texans as well.
I'm going Texans as well here. I think we got a clean sweep, but it's going to be a close one.
Okay, and then a big NFC North matchup here, Lions and Vikings. This is a big game in the grand scheme of things. Guys, who do you got?
Me personally, give me the Lions. I think that they're going to end the Vikings' Cinderella run.
Me too.
All right, wow. So we all agree here so that the Vikings will lose their first game of the season, get the Lions clean sweep. That's 2 straight. Can we make it 3 guys? Seahawks and Falcons.
This one I think will be a little bit more close.
Hear me out. I have the Seahawks winning this one with Kenneth Walker running all over that Atlanta Falcons defense.
Well, I'm so happy that we do not finally agree. I have the Falcons taking this one. I am a Falcons believer. I got them taking this one.
I am also a Falcons and Kirko James believer. Give me the Atlanta Falcons in this one. Sorry, Sam, you're wrong.
All right, when I'm right, I will come back. I think that Seahawks defense is incredible. I think that Seahawks defense is incredible.
We'll see. Now a Super Bowl rematch. The Chiefs and the Niners. Charles, we'll begin with you.
This might be the worst Super Bowl rematch of all time. I got the Chiefs. I mean, this game is just not going to be what we think it's going to be. The 49ers are hurt.
I will disagree. Give me the San Francisco 49ers. I think both undefeated teams will lose this week. You can give me a crazy look all you want, but when you're wrong, we'll see. Sam, who do you got?
I have Pat Mahomes in a narrow one.
Nope.
You can't you can't defend a guy who dives sideways and throws the ball. He jumps up in the air, throws the ball. He'll find a way, and it's just so frustrating. I think a Chiefs narrow victory.
All right, into the Sunday Night Football game. Charles, your Jets against Russell Wilson and the Steelers. Charles, begin with you for this last pick.
This is not only a prediction, this is a plead for help. Please. I need the Jets to take this one, or I might cry. I got the Jets.
Sam?
Well, I got Charles crying because I took the Steelers here. I took Russell Wilson.
Why?
Just because I don't like the Jets.
Sam-
I honestly think that you will be pleasantly surprised by the Steelers' defense here.
So do the Broncos.
Give me the Jets. Sorry, there's no way that I got you. There's no way that Russell Wilson beats the Jets defense. I just don't see it happening, not in his first game back. And now, after that crazy segment, we'll go ahead and move into the rookie report, beginning with Charles, and a guy that's making a name for himself in the preseason.
Basketball season is back, so we got to talk about some preseason. I got Jalen Wells, later first-round pick, 15.5 points a game, 3 assists, 3 rebounds. He's looked great. Now, I do want to say an honorable mention. For the first time, we actually have some honorable mentions because a lot of rookies are playing good. Give me Big Christmas Noel hitting that homer against the Yankees last night. Give me David Fry as well hitting the walk-off as a rookie. And then give me Dalton Connect. He dropped 35 last night. You got to give him a little bit of love for sure. So I definitely think that Jalen Wells is my rookie, but a lot of honorable mentions for this week.
Never mention Noel or Fry again. Thank you. We'll go ahead and move into my rookie. It's going to be Packer safety Evan Williams. This guy has been the highest rated PFF rookie so far this season. Has forced a fumble and had an interception, and he's also had the game-winning pass breakup against Los Angeles Rams. This guy has been big time in the backfield, in the DB room for the Packers alongside like Jair Alexander and whatnot. The Packers' defenses look solid.
Absolutely. I mean, Sam,
I was about to say, do you think he's going to be a big star? You know, one of those Madden X Factor players in the future for the Green Bay?
He was a 4th-round draft pick, and no one really expected him to start immediately out of college like that. And he's come in immediately and made an impact in multiple games and game-winning plays. This guy has future star written all over him.
Absolutely. I think the door is wide open as well with them losing Darnell Savage recently with the offseason. I think that it's going to give them the opportunity for Evan Williams to really shine in that Packers uniform.
All right, Sam, your weekly soccer player. Who is it this time?
I got Pau Kubasi from FC Barcelona, 17 years old, and out of 36 games, I mean, they've only lost 6 of them. Out of 36 games he started, and he's 17 years old. He plays for one of the biggest clubs in the world. To have that confidence, to have that maturity, to play in that back line, especially when legends have played there like Puyol and Mascherano and like all those players. I mean, for me, to be able to fill that role in as a couple major Champions League games and stuff like that, I think it's great.
He's been part of that youth movement for Barcelona. You got Pedri, Gavi, all of those players for Barcelona. Lamine Yamal, obviously. That youth movement for Barcelona is just very, very good, and they look good in the future.
I can't wait to watch them in the future, Jason.
It's going to be a great time for Barcelona moving forward to the future. We'll see if they can't win La Liga this year over a struggling somewhat Real Madrid and Kylian Mbappe. But that'll be all we have for the soccer stuff today. We're going to head into baseball and, what do you know, some basketball next here on Grand Slam Sports. We'll now move into some baseball, myself and Charles, beginning with my team. The New York Yankees lost a heartbreaker last night in a game I thought we had won. We were 1 strike away from beating the Guardians and making it a 3-0 series before Big Christmas. Rockets won farther than I have ever seen in my life. And whatever, it's still 2-1. Yankees are still on top right now. They still have a solid chance to make the World Series. So we'll see if they can close it out in Cleveland in the next 2 games. But Charles, thoughts on the series so far?
I mean, I definitely think the Yankees are going to take this one on top. First off, I want to say Big Christmas, best nickname in all of sports, in my opinion. I love that nickname. Noel, he's always been that pop. I mean, he's been that pop since he's come up in the AAA, and just for him to finally send one out, to me, it was a refreshing. I know obviously you're a Yankees fan, so you probably cried a little bit, but as a neutral, I love to see this very young Guardians team showing off their potential here.
And I mean, that was one of the best baseball games I have ever seen.
Absolutely.
I mean, the Yankees were down to their last 4 outs. The Guardians bring in Emmanuel Clase, the best closer in baseball, and they hit back-to-back home runs, a 2-run shot from Judge and then a solo from Stanton to give us the lead. I was losing it, just to be honest. I was like,
yeah.
oh my goodness.
And
then for Luke Weaver to then go out, our closer, and he chokes it too.
I think one of the biggest things I want to say, because I've seen it a lot on like Twitter and other things, or X, Emmanuel Clase is still good. Anyone that thinks that he's not because he gave up 2 home runs, I mean, come on. Clase is still one of my favorite closers, and I think that he took to X to show off his accomplishments because he was kind of salty about almost choking the game away.
They still won, so.
He's a great closer, and I think that I'm really excited to see who closes out this series because it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, Game 4 is tonight. It'll be Luis Gil versus Williams, Gavin Williams for the Yankees and the Guardians. Two youngins. The Yankees rookie, can he get the victory and make it a 3-1 series, or will the Guardians tie it up? Time will tell. We'll head into the Dodgers and Mets series now. The Dodgers have this one under firm control. They've taken both of the last 2 games in New York at Citi Field, and they look poised to return to the World Series for the first time in 4 years. Charles.
The Mets Cinderella run is looking like it's not going too hot unless they continue. But
Grimace?
I personally love this Dodgers team. I hate to say it, it's a good team. I mean, Freddie Freeman's playing through like a double fractured ankle. I mean, this man's ankle is like hanging on by a thread. Shohei Ohtani's finally getting to do something in October. I mean, I'm happy to see the Dodgers doing well. This is, in my opinion, the least hateable Dodgers team we've had in a while.
I still hate them. I don't care.
It's the Dodgers. We're always going to hate them. But at least they're good players or lovable players. Who can hate Shohei and Freddie Freeman and Mookie? I mean, come on.
Me.
Okay, well.
Well, I mean, Mookie used to be a Red Sox, so I mean,
that's
how do
fair.
you think I feel
That's
about
fair.
him? I mean, and then Shohei is the biggest rival to Judge right now in terms of baseball players, in terms of hitting.
He's better.
Okay. Well, I mean, maybe in the playoffs, yes. Judge, is known for not being good in the playoffs. Obviously, he had those home runs now back-to-back games. But Shohei has also had back-to-back games, including a leadoff home run last night. But as they head into Game 5 tonight at Citi Field, can the Dodgers end it now?
I think so. I think that the Dodgers are extremely hot. We talk about how important that is in baseball, and I think that they just looked like the better team. They are the better team. I mean, their best player's payroll is more than the entire Guardians' payroll by himself. So, I mean, it's a good team. It's exactly what we expected from them, and they're just showing off why this talent is that generational.
It'll be Peterson for the Mets on the mound and Flaherty for the Dodgers.
Flaherty.
He had a really good Game 1 when they won that one 8-0. It's been 4 blowout games so far in this series. See if that continues tonight or if the Mets can make it 3-2 heading back to L.A. See if they can't get that travel day under their belt and head back to L.A. for a Game 6. But now for the first time this semester in our Grand Slam Sports, we're heading into a basketball segment. Charles, I know me and you are very excited. Basketball season set to return in about a week's time.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And we kind of, of course, our favorite thing to do, we did it last year. Our way too early finals predictions. I mean, it's one of my favorite things. I predicted the finals last season. Celtics, let's go. I did not predict
I don't
the
think
other
anyone
side.
picked the Mavericks.
I did not pick the Mavericks, but I did pick the Celtics going into it. And this year, for my way too early finals prediction, I'm keeping with it. I'm have Celtics going back to back, but this year I have them going against a very young but promising Thunder team.
We have the exact same picks.
Well,
then.
that's on our.
I also went Celtics and Thunder. I thought the addition of Isaiah Hartenstein is really going to get them over the
And
hump.
Caruso.
And Caruso. You get that veteran guard in there, and Hartenstein, who is injured right now. So we'll see if he can return. After about 3 or 4 weeks, he had an injury in the preseason.
Yeah.
But the Thunder, very young. They were the 1 seed last year. They obviously lost second round to a very hot Mavericks team. We'll see if they can't rebound this season. But I mean, those are the 2 odds-on favorites to make the finals. So it's not any surprise.
Yeah.
But if you have any dark horse, Charles, who do you think?
Personally, I got my dark horse in the East. Similar to the youth, but they got some older players. The Magic, I got them kind of surprising a lot of people. I think that they are a phenomenal roster with KCP as well. I think that they're going in the right direction to be a really good team. And then on the West side, I got the Pelicans turning things around. I love the addition of DeJounte Murray. I love the way that this team looks now. If they start Herb Jones at center, I do not have them even making the playoffs. But if they actually play like a normal basketball team, they're going to be deadly.
I have one dark horse only, Sacramento Kings. They added DeMar DeRozan, you can't forget about that, in the offseason, and they still have De'Aaron Fox, Sabonis, who is continues to be one of the most underrated players in the NBA. The Kings, if they put things together, could be a very big threat in the Western Conference this season.
I agree. Absolutely.
Now we're going to look at an impact player, a player that we think is going to have an impact immediately this season. I know, Charles, that you have two, but I have Paolo Banchero for the Magic. This guy had a very good season last year, maybe a little bit underrated, honestly. Led the Magic to their first playoff appearance in a few years, and a Game 7 in Cleveland. Obviously, they couldn't get it done. He didn't look too good in the playoffs, but give him another season under his belt, this guy's going to be very good.
I've been saying it for a very long time. I am very team Banchero. I mean, I loved him. I loved him in the draft. I always wanted him to go number 1. I do not know why big major companies do not look over this guy. I mean, it's maybe because he's in Orlando, but you would think that he would get more media attention. So I'm definitely, whenever you said Paolo Banchero, I was 100% on board with that. I got 2 other players I think that are going to be really important. I think Tyrese Maxey is kind of going under the radar because Embiid, obviously, now they have Paul George. But with Embiid saying he's not playing in back-to-backs, with Paul George being a little bit older now and not as productive as he used to be, I think Tyrese Maxey is going to have to really be the one that steps up to take the Sixers team past the second round, because they've not been able to get past that.
Yeah, and I mean, you look back at last year's playoff series against the Knicks, and Maxey was a very big impact in that series. I mean, he had, a game-tying shot in game 2 or 3 or something like that, and I mean, he was very good. And this guy is one of the best guards in the East, in my opinion, on his day. If he can be consistent and keep putting those games together, this guy is going to be a force to be reckoned with, and he's still young as well.
Agreed, absolutely. And looking at some young forces to be reckoned with, going on to my other impact player, they want to have him play at center for some reason.
I don't understand this.
Don't understand it. But I think that how good he does at center or at other positions will be how good the Pelicans go. Herb Jones, one of the best, if not the best on-ball defender in the league. I'm big on defense. I think that this Pelicans team is defensively very good. I mean, they brought in DeJounte Murray, who's a very solid two-way player. They have Zion Williamson healthy for the first time in a while. Brandon Ingram looks pretty good. I mean, this is a team that, to me, can really turn things around, but they need a real center. Right now, their starting center, Baylor product, Yves Messi. I like him, but he's not NBA ready yet, so I definitely want to see where they go with this. Personally, not rocking with him at center, but I think Herb Jones will.
Yeah, I agree with most of what you just said there. That the Pelicans, I do think they're going to be a much better team than they have been. But I don't understand the Herb Jones call at center. Obviously, like you said, they don't really have one that's really ready, NBA ready, which is why I think at some point they're going to have to make a trade for a bona fide, 7-foot center of some kind that can be good.
Doesn't even need to be a star. The first person that comes to mind is Daniel Gafford. I mean, he's on the Mavs, but he is not a bench player. He is not a backup center. He's a starting center in this league. And Derek Lively has kind of taken over that pedestal. So, in my opinion, go for Gafford. I think he'll be a very good fit on the Pelicans.
We'll see how these 3 players will pan out. Hopefully they all do well so we can be correct about our impact picks. But now we're going to look at some states or cities that we think deserve an expansion squad. There's been a lot of talk these last few seasons from Adam Silver and possibly expanding the league, maybe 2, 4 teams even. I don't know if I agree with it. I think 30 is about perfect. But if they do expand, Charles, where do you see them going?
Well, first off, I'm on the opposite book. I think I do like it. I think that this league is getting too good. There's too many good talents to honestly spread them out a little bit. I mean, I'm looking at some of these teams. They have 3 All-Stars. And to
Boston.
Boston has 5. But stall them out a little bit and make these teams a little bit better. I have a top 5 list of teams. They're not in no order, but 5 teams, places.
I have a few as well.
I know one of them was Seattle that we both agreed on.
I think we both agreed on Seattle and Vegas.
Yeah.
Those have been the 2 most talked about by Adam Silver and the NBA media as the most likely expansion spots. Seattle, obviously, they just had the Supersonics. Vegas, Vegas is going to get a team. It's bound to happen. They just got the Raiders. They're going to get the Athletics. They got, the Aces now, who are the best WNBA team. They're going to get a team.
Speaking of Raiders and Athletics, I bring it back to Oakland. I did not like the switch away from Oakland. Their fan base is fantastic. The Warriors fans in Oakland were some of the best fans in basketball history. Bring it back. Speaking of another group with the best fans in basketball history, they need more than just one team in their country. Vancouver. Bring Vancouver back. I've been a fan of that.
Those old Grizzlies, yeah.
I'm a fan of Canada basketball. I think Vancouver's needed. And last but not least, one that's not been talked about a lot, a St. Louis or Kansas City. Their fan bases in Missouri, they love sports. They're always loyal. I like that.
I like that. I've also thought about a place like Nashville. Obviously, they already have Memphis over there in Tennessee, but Nashville, big city, they deserve more sports teams. All they have is the Titans. They don't have, they don't have baseball, which I think they deserve in baseball. They don't have basketball, or a place like Cincinnati could deserve a basketball team as well. I mean, but I do agree with that Kansas City and St. Louis shout because both of those cities are big time in their sports.
Yeah.
In St. Louis, they've lost, their football team.
Yeah.
So
St. Louis Rams fans were something else. St. Louis Cardinals fans are something else. The Kansas City fans, half of them are bandwagons, but the half that are loyal are great. So I personally, that's one of my favorite ones that I kind of like. But Vancouver is definitely the team that I would push the most.
what
outside
about
of
putting
the
a team in Montana?
That's not. No one wants to go to
man.
Montana.
I mean, but I think we need more Canadian teams. You still got Ottawa,
Agreed.
Montreal, Quebec. They all could all really use a team. I mean, obviously, all we have right now is Toronto.
Yeah.
But getting some more Canadian rivalries in there would be pretty cool.
And we've seen how American sports go with that with NHL. It works. So I think definitely giving it a look, Vancouver, bring back their team, please and thank
We'll
you.
see if there's any teams in the near future for the NBA. That'll be all for today's version of Grand Slam Sports.